Robert Frost entered Dartmouth in 1892, 54 years after Emerson delivered his address on literary ethics at a spot not far from this clearing at the edge of the woods, where this likeness of Robert Frost now stands. Frost imagined his poetry as in part a response to the question Emerson asked: why should not we have a poetry and philosophy of insight and not of tradition? Before Frost could behold God and nature face to face, however, he had to figure out a way to say it in words that did not sound as if they'd merely passed on Emerson's insights. You might say that it was by differing radically from Emerson in doctrine and idiom that Frost showed his respect for the sage of Concord. In his Emerson essay, Frost let it out that he often felt like the last of the transcendentalists. I owe more to Emerson than anyone else for troubled thoughts about freedom. The trouble Frost's poetry made for Emerson's thinking had to do with their different attitudes towards what Emerson called beholding God and nature face to face. Here's how Emerson described what happened when he took the step from this clearing into those woods. In the woods, we return to reason and faith. There I feel that nothing can befall me in life. No disgrace, no calamity, leaving me my eyes, which nature cannot repair. Standing on the bare ground, my head bathed by the blithe air and uplifted into infinite space, all mean egotism vanishes. I become a transparent eyeball. I am nothing. I see all. The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am part or particle of God. Frost did not endorse Emerson's belief in the divine sufficiency of man, and he did not intend the application of this ethic to his poetry. Frost instead believed that it was Emerson's desire to accomplish the union he envisioned as the greatest attempt that ever failed. Emerson characterized poetry as the occasion to be overtaken in nature by the living power of the universal being. Frost was much less certain about the figure a poem might make, but he did know that it begins in delight. It inclines to the impulse. It assumes direction with the first line laid down. It runs a course of lucky events and ends in a clarification of life. Not necessarily a great clarification, like the one circulating through Emerson's transparent eyeball, but in a momentary stay against confusion. In birches, Frost found such a momentary stay in woods not far from Emerson's. In that poem, he imagines a boy climbing to the top of a birch tree and then bending it back down to earth as a metaphor for almost attaining union with the Godhead. Listen to Frost come to a poetic idiom all his own by rephrasing Emerson's transcendental exhortations in a vernacular that brings them back to earth with a kind of matter-of-fact grandeur.
I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it and one eye is weeping from the twigs having lashed across it open. I'd like to go away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me and half grant what I wish and snatch me away not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk.
Toward heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dipped the top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. But could Emerson do one better?